Mike, what's your favorite Xbox One exclusive from 2018?
State of Decay 2, son.
Yeah, what's your second favorite?
Forza Horizon 4, son.
What's your third favorite?
I don't have one.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dealer here back again. Today we're going over this video GameSpot came out with, quite frankly dropping a lot of truth, and as a result they're getting attacked by a bunch of radical turds. I'm even going to argue that Xbox has taken the year 2018 as a whole with many of the things they have done. I'll detail all of that in the video. Even with very few exclusives that have generated any kind of massive hype at all, I think Xbox has done a ton right this year. Now, whether or not you agree with me, that's really going to vary. Let me know in the comments. But what we do know is that GameSpot understand exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't like GameSpot, I completely understand. And after all, these are the same people that couldn't find the settings until I sent my dude Larry over.
Larry! Larry, you can't just... Oh, Larry! Oh, are you alright? How did... Larry!
But at the end of the day, if you're saying some positive things about a platform, and most importantly, some factual things about a platform like the Xbox, and you're getting attacked just for doing it, that's a problem. So I'm going to go through this video, give some of my own opinions. Let's get into it. So keep in mind, this is GameSpot's year in review for Microsoft. They say maybe some of their success went beyond exclusives, meaning, hey, maybe they did some things right. And we'll have plenty of great comments to go through as we do this. How much did Microsoft paid you?
Do you care that there's not that many?
No, there wasn't that many last year either, but this year I feel like for all the promise that Sea of Thieves showed, it didn't really hit me hard at all. And that was April now?
March, April, something, yeah.
Been out for a while now, and I feel like they were trying to make this, you know, like lifestyle game that people would keep returning to, and I don't even feel like many people are talking about it anymore.
Because there's not much there.
My Sea of Thieves review speaks for itself, despite what a few turds want to say. 100% facts. I still agree with that review 1000%. It didn't benefit me in any way to hammer that game like I did, being that I'm running an Xbox channel, 100%, and I gotta give Rare props for at least continually patching the game, trying to make the best of what they can. I agree with the nerd from GameSpot.
And Forza Horizon 4, that released more recently. You said you didn't play it, even though it's set in your neck of the woods. So
no, I know, and it's just because this quarter's been so busy, I haven't really got around to it. And also the fact that I moved from England, and I felt like I would be upset if I played it because I'd be missing home too much.
Yeah.
But Forza Horizon, that series is always, every single iteration has been a banger. So I'm genuinely looking forward to playing it maybe over Christmas. Did you play it?
I liked it a lot, and I'm not traditionally a racing game person, especially not Forza, but obviously that one is a little more accessible because of its open world and just the fact that you can like roam around doing random challenges. I liked it a lot.
It's geared for fun.
It's geared for fun. Listen, Forza Horizon 4 is a phenomenal game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they change the franchise up next time around. Now, of course, like anything, we've got a lot of turds that damage control the Horizon series. Well, it's just a racing game. But a year earlier, I was certainly hyping up Gran Turismo Sport, which was actually trash. So once more, if you see people trying to discount the franchise, you know something's wrong with them. I hate to break it to them, but there's nothing they can say. Nothing you can say. It's the best racing game of the generation, and Sony has nothing even close to close. Oh, but it seems somebody has figured it out. What a joke propaganda video. Jeez. Can you be any more of a fanboy? Well, the answer is yes. We got some other comments coming up. This is the world we live in where if you tell facts, hey, Forza Horizon 4 is great. Xbox did some good things for the consumer. This is propaganda. Absolutely pathetic.
Talking about Xbox exclusives, State of Decay 2 came out, and people were excited for it because of how much of a cult hit the first one was from Undead Labs. Like really great zombie immersive sim, I guess you could call it. And I've been playing State of Decay 2 again recently. They have vastly improved it, but when the game released, it was very, very broken in a lot of places. There were a lot of like quality of life things that need to be changed, which they have, but it didn't really add much to the stable of Xbox games.
Now, I've got to say, he's got a few points here. State of Decay 2 didn't do too much beyond State of Decay 1, and the experience was highly variable depending on your internet. So if you had a closed NAT, for instance, or had anybody in your party that had a closed NAT, you were glitching all over the place in co-op. A ton of bugs would pop up, very, very inconsistent, and the game did a horrible job of communicating that to you. I covered all of this in my State of Decay 2 review. But as somebody who absolutely adored the first game, This game does every single thing better than the first game, and I put over 3 days into it. Since then, they patched a lot of this stuff up, they've added a ton of content, they've announced that they had several million active players last month alone, and I hear they're working on a next generation sequel with Microsoft's full backing. At the end of the day, the second game didn't do a whole lot to further the franchise, really hoping for better in the future. Now, for those wondering, part of the reason I'm giving my perspective on the same issue they just covered is to ensure consistency. Keep in mind, this video is getting a ton of hate and a ton of ridiculous comments talking about propaganda and they're being paid off and worse. Well, I find it quite accurate so far. I'd be curious to see what you guys think so far, and as we move along, let me know if you agree or disagree with each of their points. And yes, it's okay to disagree.
But we were just talking about Playground Games and Undead Labs. Those are two of the studios that Microsoft acquired this year.
How many did they acquire total?
8,
right?
Something like it's
5 at E3, and then they announced a couple at XO18.
So at XO18 it was Playground, Undead Labs, and then the Compulsion Games, who made We Happy Few. There were several others.
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory, which is huge.
That's massive.
That was really good because, and like there's also like a wide range of games. And then there's also Obsidian they have,
Right.
which again we were talking about it during our PC chat. Obsidian is very much like an old school RPG developer. They've made a lot of those. They have Pillars of Eternity 2 this year, which now we
great.
know. Yeah, and now we know that's the last game they made as an independent studio. But now, I think Microsoft is making really good moves because I wouldn't peg Obsidian to go to Microsoft, despite the fact that the original Xbox did have a lot of console RPGs.
There's a key difference though now. Like you can hook up a keyboard and a mouse to your Xbox board.
Right.
It's basically a PC.
And they're really going in on that, and I think that works really well because it's already like it's so seamless between Windows 10 and Xbox.
But Microsoft, not only are they acquiring these great third-party studios, they are making a new first-party studio. So they've got the Initiative, and they're pulling in all this amazing AAA talent from. Basically, they're cherry-picking whoever they want to make a game, and I'm really excited to see what that group of people are going to come out with.
Do me a favor. Imagine a world where people spend about 2 years complaining about Microsoft's games lineup. I've done it, most of you have done it. It's something that needed to be addressed. Now imagine a world where Microsoft go above and beyond to address those concerns. Anyone else could have acquired 1, 2, 3 studios. People would have been like, wow, that is insane, can't wait to see what they're working on. Microsoft literally doubled their creative force, going from 6 active development teams to over 12, and this still isn't good enough. Acquiring Ninja Theory, Obsidian building a mega studio in the form of The Initiative, who has talent from Red Dead Redemption, lead producer of God of War 2018, and more working there. And it's all being led by the guy that rebooted Tomb Raider. They are oh so clearly focused on developing software, yet people insist on complaining about others being excited for new acquisitions. This makes no sense. You need studios to have games, and just because you don't know what they're working on doesn't mean it's a Limbo game, or a Winnie the Pooh game, or just, hey, why not? No game at all, take a break. I've heard all of the above, and it's actually really ridiculous. Microsoft spent well over $1 billion rebooting their software initiative, and that's just recently. And when they acquire studios like Ninja Theory, In Exile, Obsidian, and more, now suddenly the public says, well, they're just going to dismantle you, they're going to destroy you. Even after all of these studio heads, even after all of these studio CEOs have the same story. Microsoft said, hey, we essentially have an unlimited budget, meaning we can make whatever we want and take the time we need. We no longer have to worry about funds, and we can increase our graphical fidelity. I guess they're all lying. I guess Ninja Theory's lying. I guess Obsidian are lying. No, I think it's more like radicals are lying. And I think actions like these are to be commended, not fear-mongered. I mean, look at this. Remember Scalebound? Yes, they buy studios just to kill the games. I mean, this guy doesn't even know they didn't buy Platinum Games. This guy doesn't know that Platinum Games was fired for missing deadlines and releasing 8 other titles in the time that they were working on Scalebound. They still never managed to hold a deadline with the game. They were let go. Misinformation like this doesn't help anybody, and I see a similar trend with the new game studios. People expecting to see brand new games in 6 months. Now don't get me wrong, some of these studios have stuff in the works. We could see stuff from them very, very soon. But to expect that is actually pretty ridiculous. Give these studios time. Microsoft should not be showing off software too early. So yes, I think the GameSpot staff have a very good reason to be excited for the future of Xbox. I'm joining them in saying 2020 is going to be a fantastic year. Does that excuse the past 2 years? No. But put simply, there's nothing we can do about it now. And 2019 is looking pretty good, or at least better than 2018 and 17. Crackdown 3, Gears of War 5, and Ori and the Will of the Wisp are slated for 2019 with possible announcements including other games for that year. And for those of you who are going to say, oh, another Gears of War, where was that same attitude when it comes to MLB, Uncharted, God of War, Killzone? There's been a ton of these games. But still, as fans, you look forward to every single one of them. I ask you to put yourselves in someone else's shoes for once and think about things from their perspective. So yes, excited for 2019, but even more excited for 2020 and beyond. Funny thing is, all of this great stuff that we've been talking about for 10 minutes now, we still see comments like this. And I'm pretty sure if you've made it this far, you already know why this guy is completely wrong, and why it's good to celebrate growth in the industry, especially in the areas where it's needed. Hey, it could be worse. You could be this guy who thinks all of these games are actually coming out next year. Or you could be this guy who thinks every Microsoft exclusive this generation has been a flop, even though Microsoft has said several times that these games have exceeded expectations. 5 million users in a single month. I mean, the list goes on and on. So look, I would use most of what I just got done saying to argue that Xbox could have taken 2018. Yes, that's insane, right? God of War was amazing. I gave that game a 9.5. My Spider-Man review spoke for itself. I'm a big fan of those experiences, those exclusives, but at the end of the day, that platform gave me 2 games this entire year that I played on it. Is that indicative of perhaps somebody who prefers the PlayStation ecosystem? No, but it is indicative of an Xbox fan that prefers the Xbox ecosystem, that also prefers the best experiences when it comes to multi-platform games. And we're not talking a couple 100,000 pixels and no extra effects here. We're talking 50 to 100% resolution boost plus some additional graphics effects. As we saw with Red Dead Redemption, it makes a difference, and I've been playing every single game that way on the Xbox One X. And this goes without saying, but this whole conversation is relegated to consoles, this whole video. I would argue that Game Pass is a continual incentive to own an Xbox platform. I would argue that Play Anywhere is extremely pro-consumer and gives me the freedom to play where I choose, even if I choose the same place 99% of the time. I would argue that Microsoft opening all of these new studios has gone a long way to show me how serious they are, and that there are great things coming. But most of all, I would say that it is just my preferred platform, and they just so happen to be doubling down on the things that I want them to double down on. For that reason, to me, in 2018, it was still the best platform. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I don't think it's worth freaking out over. But what we do know is that GameSpot see where I'm coming from, and that's why their video is called what it's called. And I thought it was a good video. I was planning on going in depth on every point they made on this video, but the reality of the situation is this video is already way too long. And I've got way too much to say on every single one of these things, obviously. When it comes down to it, I thought it was a good video. I thought it was accurate. That's just my opinion. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you agree. Let me know down below in the comments. I, as always, will link the source, this video, down below in the description as well. I've got some other stuff down there if you guys want to click on it. Have a good time, clickety click click. And listen, I talk about this stuff because I prefer Xbox. Yes, I've got a PC, I've got a PS4 Pro, but at the end of the day, I play everything on the Xbox. Some people do the same thing with PlayStation. Some people do the same thing with, well, whatever else they got. I just so happen to prefer what I prefer, but I understand the strengths of its competitors. And I just wanted to talk about this because as a creator who is heard by several 100,000 people a month, I hear all kinds of crazy things, and I'm often taken out of context. Nonetheless, I persist. I talk about Xbox. I prefer Xbox. I always have, ever since the first Xbox. And you know what? I think it should be okay for that to be a thing. Why is that a problem with people? Microsoft have made mistakes. They paid for their mistakes. They now come back and implemented pro-consumer policy after pro-consumer policy. They've doubled down on the hardware, which is another thing this GameSpot video covers. They love having the best hardware, the best looking versions of games on the Xbox One X, and whether you want to lie to yourself or not, that does matter. And that's kind of the difference between someone like myself talking about performance now, whereas before when Microsoft didn't have it, it wasn't talked about. The difference is, I'm talking about performance now, but I'm also talking about games. I want games. I want experiences. Whereas back in 2014, 2015, a lot of the guys on the other side of the fence only talked about power. They didn't care because every multi-plat ran better. Don't get me wrong, that is an advantage, but I'm also asking for more. I'm also demanding more. I want some first-party games. And you know what? Microsoft doubling down, showing us all that they're dead serious about this is great. And it's exactly what I've asked for. So I'm finally starting to climb down off my soapbox here, guys. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, learned something here today, or maybe the message resonated. I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people put this kind of stuff out there. And a big part of that is they're afraid of being hammered. But you know me, keeping it 100, I do what I do. I do appreciate the support. I'd also appreciate it if you share this with some friends. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Stick around for the Patreon message. I'm Dealer. I'm out. Hey, we cannot forget about the amazing patrons behind this channel. They are responsible for the content you just watched and the content you will probably watch next. Thank you so much for what you do, and for those that want to join the party, for as little as $1 a month, you can do quite a bit to ensure content like this remains as ad-free as possible. It's easy to join. Click the link down below, and the $3 and up tier are eligible for all kinds of awesome AAA games. We just gave away Red Dead Redemption 2, Battlefield 5, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and so many more. We've also got tiers for creators as well. If you're looking to get a little bit of spotlight on you, check that link down below. Thank you guys so much. I'm out.